After helping to win a second world war, the United States is forced to deal with some moral questions. First of all, were they justified in all of their actions during the war? Had it been acceptable to use the atom bomb on Hiroshima, of which you can see the devastation of that atom bomb here, and then again, after the Japanese failed to surrender, at Nagasaki, at which you can see the mushroom cloud here? Had this been justified? This is a question that you will perhaps never hear a definitive answer for all time. There are those who make the argument of no, it is never acceptable to use such devastating weapons. You hear others that say yes, President Truman was between a rock and a hard place. If he invaded mainland Japan, there could have been 1 million more casualties on both sides of the war, and that the casualties of these atomic blasts paled in comparison to the casualties that could have taken place had there been a mainland invasion of Japan. So this moral question of, is it acceptable for the United States to have used the atomic bomb? Another issue is, did the Allied powers do enough to try to stop the Nazi Holocaust? Could they have intervened sooner? Could the death and destruction of the Holocaust ended soon enough to save millions of lives? And much like Japanese internment, no matter how much you deeply consider the tragedy of the Nazi Holocaust, there can never truly be any justice done to the millions and millions of people, predominantly Jews, who were slaughtered in the Holocaust. Even the Nuremberg Trials that put high-ranking Nazis on trial for war crimes, or what was officially and formally referred to as crimes against humanity, even these trials could not bring justice to those that had been lost. And probably one of the biggest decisions for the United States is, should we return to isolationism, as we have for generations, as we have after almost every conflict the United States has ever been involved in? Or should we step up and be a leader in the world community? After a return to isolationism after World War I, nonetheless, there is a Second World War. So the United States does indeed form the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, an alliance of Western European nations, the United States and Canada, as well as promote the United Nations for all nations to try to peaceably resolve their conflicts to avoid the kind of devastation that the world had seen in both world wars. This is a seismic shift in United States foreign relations. Ever since Washington's farewell address, the United States had considered it its duty to remain neutral and isolated in foreign affairs, and only fight when forced and dragged into a conflict. So this is a seismic shift in U.S. foreign relations. The United States is now going to become an active world leader. And this will bring us into our next unit on the early Cold War, in which we resist the power of the communist Soviet Union. That is the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you in class.